Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is the video for a late video again, but nonetheless a transmission for the full supermoon in Aquarius. I have a writer. This is all like pen to paper of like 4 or 5 pages that came through that I want to read for you all. I typed it out and put it on my blog as well. And then I just realized I've still got the music going. Apologies. I've been up all night again. I was up until 6 a.m. Like 5 hours before the full moon at 11:35 a.m. And this transmission, it's pretty brutal. I was very hesitant to even tune into it like at the beginning, like when I got the first few messages come through. It feels more like an address to the spiritual community, and pardon me, I'm doing something a little bit different with this video, so I do hope you enjoy it. I'm going to go through the astrology charts. This is a Sturgeon full supermoon as well, so we'll go through the shamanic symbolism of the sturgeon fish. We'll go through the geo, fixed star and Helio charts, because the energies that we've been experiencing collectively for the last 6 weeks have been anything but a revisitation of numerous dark nights of the soul, and a lot needs to be addressed within that. So I do hope that you like this like mini presentation, because it's turned into like so much more than what I normally do. After that, I will pull some cards. I have a question channeled through. What support are you needing at this time is what we'll be pulling cards on. And at the end, I will read 19 degrees of Aquarius for the moon. I personally had to wait until the moon ingressed Pisces before I even felt settled enough energetically with the amount that is coming through from the collective, and of course what it's triggering in myself, right, for my own journey. And I didn't want to show up here whilst I was still processing it all. So I really do hope that you stick around and watch the whole presentation, and I would love to connect with you in the comments. Please feel free to like, share and subscribe, and of course down below are the links and everything for you to book personal readings and sessions with me. So without further ado, let's begin. The first message, I'm just going to bring it up here. So this full supermoon in Aquarius is at 19 degrees and 21 minutes of Aquarius, conjunct Saturn retrograding. Now, when I tuned into all these messages, this is why I had to look at the fixed star. This is why it's fixed star chart. This is why I had to look at the Helio, because the messages that I was receiving immediately, which I'll tell you the messages that came through for the aspects themselves after I finish reading the transmission. This Saturn right now is conjunct a fixed star called Deneb Algedi in the 4th house. And the 4th house we know is ruled by Cancer and thus the moon. So the moon is domicile, yes, however, it's not very welcomed in Aquarius. It doesn't feel really great there. And as we know, Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius. So this full moon, supermoon, Sturgeon supermoon, took place on the 12th of August at 11:35 Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is 10 plus 10 UTC. I received a bunch of different messages from all of the aspects, and then when I was preparing to do the transmission, this moon is all about releasing false personas. So I'll begin to read now, okay? This full supermoon feels and has felt since the moon conjunct Pluto retrograde, another round of tackling, acknowledging, and diving through the resistances that are within energetically on an individual and collective level, leaving a charge so deep it has driven many subconsciously to attempt to bypass all of the shitty lurkings beneath the surface and attempt to positive think their ways through something that would otherwise prove to be their greatest opportunity to the real changes required to be made. Yes, we have just transited the Gregorian 8th of August, which many across the spiritual communities will no doubtably attempt to piggyback off of and sway their audiences to ride the coattails of that energy. However, that was technically not a portal of divine blissful exaltation of ascension, as many have marketed it as. The Lion's Gate is real, yes. That's a topic for another video. Its annual flogging across every social platform, however, is a numerological happenstance at best, which happens every single year. What does not take place is the true Lion's Gate portal falling on August 8th. This is a very rare occurrence, which until last year of 2021, we had not experienced since 2002. However, it is the astrology which deems a portal of energy depicted by a yod most times, in my understanding, my learnings of how portal energy works, not a calendar system approaching its 440th birthday this October. This all may sound and feel charged and amplified as you read these words or listening to me, and the reason for this is that it is the real, true, present astrology influencing the globe at this time. These past 6 weeks have been one gauntlet of challenging energies after the other, whether it be the planets retrograding and playing off one another in their cosmic choreography of their favorite never-ending square dances, or it be the Schumann resonance spiking, giving even the most seasoned shadow workers a run for their money, or it be the solar flares and geoelectromagnetic phenomena that we experience. The energy has been difficult, challenging, a dredging of all dark night of the soul debris left forgotten in the corners of the cosmic abysses within each and every single one of us. What difference does this make, you may ask, if you've felt unaffected by the universe attempting to bend you over from behind? The difference it makes is to those who are newly awakened and or awakening during such unprecedented, intense times in our history. This is the importance of being transparent with A, what is truly taking place astrologically, B, what is New Age spirituality / influencer pop astro fluff based on a myriad of incorrect memes, all jumbled together in some extremist mind, linking of synchronicities that are not present and cannot be backed, therefore completely fabricated just for the likes, follows, and to fill a slot in their content batch that day. C, what the ancient facts and datas and myth and ideologies are. And lastly, and most importantly, D, leaving the recipient of such information with a clear knowing that such things such as the Lion's Gate portals landing on August 8th every single year are belief systems only. With South Node Scorpio and Zeus, which is an asteroid, in Pisces at 15 degrees and 55 minutes, There is already a vital need to be discerning of which influences on all and every realm, plane and dimension, to adhere, usurp, follow, trust, and hold firm, grounded awareness against the gaslighting the globe is under right now. We as a community need to hold a higher due diligence with what we share to not add to the gaslighting and attempted abuses of the collective consciousness, as we all continue to battle it out and rise against every effort cast towards us to affront and delay our growth and evolving consciousness. The war on our consciousness is not a new one, nor are the wars that are taking place between the realms, interdimensionally and galactically. We are merely at a time now where more souls are awakened to these truths than ever before on the planet, and more souls are awakening each and every day. So it is vital that we, way showers, light, shadow, and grid workers, ensure disclaimers, I couldn't think of a better word, if you will, are made for the newly awakened and awakening to understand they may or may not be experiencing these higher velocity energies in such a divine way as many can be. This is to gift them an immediate sense of safety and truth and transparency when entering into any of our mecca of rabbit holes of gnosis, further gifting them an immediate sense of empowerment in relearning how to trust the truth of their own vessels. By offering the wisdom of what they are consuming is merely one perspective of collective of people and not the one and only truth or perspective that the entire collective have and or are experiencing, ensures that they maintain levels of self-confidence along their journeys. It's also removing any chance of exacerbating the "what's wrong with me? Why am I not in a high vibration like everyone else?" questions that we occasionally find ourselves returning to in our shadows along our paths. As we all know, many are seeking life preservers when they enter this spiritual awakening journey. So the sooner we can guide, encourage, and gift them their power back by offering a most holistic, clear perspective, the sooner they can begin the journey to reclamation of their own divine sovereignty with grounded awareness and clear discernment. This full supermoon is one of yet another challenge you will no doubt overcome victoriously, if not during, in the months to follow as the integration lands gently at a pace you're comfortable with allowing. Unfortunately for many, this energy may have you feeling you're stretched out on a rack, especially if you ignored or glazed over some inner truths that the full supermoon in Capricorn attempted to drill home. See, this moon being conjunct Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, well, Saturn is still at home here, being the traditional ruler of Aquarius prior to Uranus being discovered, and being conjunct the fixed star Deneb Algedi is providing extra Saturn and Jupiterian energy, ruling life and death, and the polarities of life. With all this energy in the fourth house, home to the moon and Cancer, on top of the aspects we are seeing to the North Node Uranus conjunction, and Mars also being on Algol, the fixed star, which I'll go into in more depth in this video. It is a cosmic formula for varying levels of existential crisis and reassessment, aka brutal self-judgment of Saturn, of where one is in their internal and external worlds on a day-to-day, and whether there is the inner wounded warrior at the ready again to head back into battle to action all of the changes required to build and co-create the life of your dreams and desires. Remembering, after all, Scorpio, and thus Pluto, is the chart ruler here, so subterranean excavations are to be expected. Aquarius rules and embodies many archetypes, some of which are the zany inventor, the aloof, nonplussed psychonaut who just sees there's really much ado about nothing. So why waste their time, energy, or intellect on being party to anything other than what interests them or makes them feel good? We all have Aquarius in our charts. The house in which it is found will be the place where you buck and rebel against societal norms, push for egalitarianism, and flat out refuse to be obligated or tied down to nonsensical things. This is why this full supermoon in the 4th house, with all of its destructive aspects, is writing you a new permission slip to strip any and all things false from your reality. Kind of a cosmic entrapment into you revealing the truth of who you are beyond all the South Node Scorpio facades you've perhaps been touting as authenticity all these years. You may find you feel naked at first, and then you soon realize the whole room is naked now too. So not only do you no longer care who is seeing you into your core, you're now able to work the room more freely and find your true tribe. So definitely have your freak flag handy. If not to fly, then to wipe the tears and the snot from your face once you collect yourself from the revealing and releasing, even to yourself, all the little identities you've hid behind all these years in the name of authenticity. Is it brutal? Yes. However, all so accurate. So be gentle with your unmasking and deeply loving at every layer, and know that you are not alone, ever. Keep facing your inner light, and before you know it, the shadows will be long behind you. So that's the end of the transmission. I really hope that served. And now I'll bring up the charts here in a moment. So the first chart that you're going to be looking at is the natal chart of the moon, and this is from AstroSeek. If you visit my blog, you'll be able to find a link directly to it so that you can dive into it yourself, and have a scope around, because this, I only use it for the wheel and the aspect table occasionally, but the wheel, and there is a very detailed description of what all the placements mean on that website. It's quite a very handy website, especially when you're learning astrology. So the messages that I received while looking at this wheel, the first one that came through was beware of power plays within connections, as I noticed Pluto retrograde was opposing Lilith, and then upon deeper inspection of the chart, I noticed that Lilith is conjunct Procyon, which we'll go into in a moment. The next message that came through when I saw the moon conjunct Saturn retrograde in the 4th house, prior to knowing it was conjunct Deneb Algedi, I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, by the way, was who's your inner dom, your daddy, your mama or mama bear, and which of your personas do you allow to lead? Where can you let yourself be led, or can't you release the control? The next one was be discerning prior to making any bold endings. Ask, is it coming from a healed space or a gaping wound you want to continue to ignore? This is the moon conjunct Saturn retrograde conjunct the fixed star, sextiling Chiron retrograde in Aries. The next message was face that part of you that loves cock-blocking your blessings. Integrate your inner saboteur and rebel to cultivate better habits to succeed daily for the long term. Again, Moon, et al., which is and the rest, squaring the North Node conjunct Uranus in Taurus at 17 and 18 degrees respectively. And the last message that I received was, journeying within the daydream may reveal the pieces required to decoding the matrices you've bound yourself to perpetually create. This is Neptune retrograde trining Venus at 0 degrees of Leo. And this is most potent because Neptune is retrograding in the 5th in this chart, as you can see, and Venus is at the top there in the 9th house, which we know is Jupiterian, Sagittarius, higher philosophy energies. So the next chart that you're going to look at is the Helio, but before we do that, I want to dive into this a little bit more here. So as you can see, we have Mercury as well at 12 degrees of Virgo in the 11th house of Aquarius. So further activating that Aquarian and Uranian energies as well. I am a big believer, just as personally in my astrology, I'm a big believer that when the moon is transiting a sign, or when a planet is ingressing a new sign, especially when we're looking at the synastry of our natal chart transits, I feel that the sign, the house, and the planet are all activated within our own natal charts when they're transiting it. However, I also feel that with Mercury being in the 11th house, that's also amplifying this inner analysis, of who is in our community, who is in our friend circle, who are we connected to soul family wise that are really in alignment with us. As the transmission said, let your freak flag fly so that you can find your true tribe. Where everyone's naked now, everybody's been stripped bare. Most people feel raw, emotional, psychologically as well as spiritually, very unsettled and ungrounded in themselves. Not everybody will feel this energy the same, of course, and that is why I think it was so imperative that transmission come through with regards to those who are newly awakened and awakening, is because when we are on social medias all day and we're pummeled with the same narrative coming from a variety of different sources, if we are in opposing energies, it can exacerbate our shadows even more. So I feel that the trining aspect, or sextiling aspect to Chiron retrograding, especially in the 6th house of Virgo, that is the house of day-to-day happenings, that is the house of healing, it is the house of the maiden who wants to take care of everybody else except for themselves. It's very portending to me that the escapism is very much to try and escape what we need to feel and work through. Let's focus on somebody outside of ourselves. Let's try and serve and push through and serve anyway. And it's not because of this that I didn't show up and do the work, do this video prior to the moon or during the moon. However, it makes sense as to why I didn't, because that is one of my shadows from decades ago, of pushing through no matter how bad I felt or what I felt, good, bad, or ugly. It didn't matter. I put others and businesses and all sorts of things above myself in very many other situations, so I can really relate to that coming through channel right now as I'm looking at this chart for you all. Now, the other chart that I'm going to bring up now is the Helio, and I just want to look at this briefly here with you all, because you'll see straight away you have the glyph here of 19 degrees for the moon and 19 degrees of what looks to be an upside down Venus glyph. That is actually the glyph for Earth in a Helio chart. And you can see that we do a horoscope style here, like a whole house system, and so therefore it is at home in the 11th house. However, what I found most interesting was that Jupiter is, in a Helio sense, still at 29 degrees of Pisces, which Jupiter hasn't been at 29 degrees of Pisces since the 9th of May. So you might want to have a bit of a quantum reflect on what's happening that's being mirrored or being triggered or being brought up from you, within you, sorry, going right back to the 9th of May when we last saw Jupiter at those degrees. And likewise with Mars being at 8 degrees there of Aries. As we know, Mars is now at the 27, 28 degrees of Taurus. I think it was 28, wasn't it? Oh, sorry, 25, pardon me, of Taurus. And in the Helio, it's still at 8 degrees, which we haven't seen it there in a geo chart, or a Helio chart, sorry. No, geo chart since the 5th of June. Apologies for the fumbling of the terminology as well. I have been up all night, so I'm doing my best, guys. I love you and I want to get this out for you all. So that's why I wanted to bring this chart to your awareness, just so that you can see from in a Helio stance. We are still revisiting that May and early June energies from a Helio standpoint, okay? Now the next chart here is where we're going to go into the fixed stars. Now you can see that it's the same chart as what we were looking at earlier. However, now you can notice that there's some tiny little gold writings and things like that. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please feel free to jump on my blog. I'll have the article linked below. I have all of these slides available for you with the links, so that you can go and have a look at these charts yourself in your own time whenever you wish. And so I do hope that you're able to see it clearly on the YouTube video here. There are little gold writings around on the outskirts where we can see the zodiac glyph. On the outer wheel, the very, very outer edge of the wheel there, and that's where you can see that Deneb Algedi is conjunct Saturn, pretty much within a degree. And with the fixed stars, most fixed stars have either a 1 or a 2 degree orb of conjunction. And now I'm just going to reference here again everything that I'm going to be reading out from this point forward. All of the links are available to all of the references that I'm going to be using this evening or this morning. It is 20 past 8 in the morning right now, on the 13th. So all of those are available within the article, okay? You just go and click on whichever picture you want and it will take you directly to what it is that you want to have a look at. Now, Deneb Algedi, we're looking at the astrologyking.com here. He's a brilliant astrologer that I found from, I believe, South Australia he lives in. However, he has such a wonderful library available online with regards to all the minutiae of astrological placements, planets, you know, the aspects, everything, the fixed stars. It's amazing. So let's digress here. Deneb Algedi is a fixed star at 23 degrees and 33 minutes of Aquarius and has an orb of 1 degree and 40 minutes. So clearly in a direct conjunction there, with Saturn retrograding. Now, it says on this site here that excuse me, I'm just going to have some water. I really do hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, because it is of an Arabic term. It comes from an Arabic term, which means tail of the goat, in the sea goat for the Capricorn constellation, and is the nature of Saturn and Jupiter. This gives us dignified, pious, conservative, acquisitive, and retentive. It is said to cause beneficence and destructiveness, sorrow and happiness, and life and death. And it is one of the 15 Bohemian fixed stars, and its image is a heart, goat, or angry man, and it gives prosperity and increases wrath. Rules marjoram, mugwort, nip, and mandrake root, which I'll go into in a moment briefly. Deneb is supposed to portend to happiness and life. So this is why I felt that in that transmission that came through, it was about having a very stark, brutal, honest look at your life and how you have co-created it up until this point. And I find it very interesting that it does rule mandrake root, as that is a psychedelic herb. Witches would use it in spells to cast madness upon people, and thus really relates to Neptune, to me, being in that sextile to Chiron retrograde, or semi-sextile I should say, to Chiron retrograding in Aries. So now we can see, if we go over to Taurus here on the right hand side, you'll see 4 little glyphs clumped together. One looks like a circle with an X in it. That's called a part fortune. And I'm not really going to go into that during this video. However, it's a calculated point, mathematically calculated point in the chart, and as the name depicts, it does tend to areas of fortune in one's life, in one's natal chart, in a native's natal chart. Now we can see that that is conjuncting Mars, and Mars is conjuncting Algol. We'll go into Algol shortly. I want to touch on the North Node conjunct Uranus aspect, because it is squaring over to this Moon Saturn retrograde and Deneb Algedi fixed star. And as I mentioned, this is where I got that message about what can you do to ensure success in your future, or daily day-to-day and ongoing success in your future. Now, as I said, the first thing that jumped out was the fact that Pluto was directly opposing Black Moon Lilith. So Pluto is just here in the 3rd house, as you can see in Capricorn, Pluto retrograding, and then we follow that really dark red line right across to a little black moon with an upside down cross next to the Venus glyph, which is green there, and we can see that Procyon is directly on, or Black Moon Lilith I should say, is retrograding, true Black Moon Lilith retrograding directly over Procyon. Now the fixed star Procyon, I'll bring up that slide here. Procyon is at 25 degrees and 47 minutes of Cancer and has an orb of 2 degrees and 40 minutes. Now this gives activity, violence, sudden and violent malevolence. I can't say that word if I read it. If I look away, I can read it and say it, but if I try to read it, I can't. Sudden preferment by exertion, elevating, ending in disaster, danger of dog bites and hydrophobia, and makes its natives petulant, saucy, giddy, weak-natured, timid, unfortunate, proud, easily angered, careless, and violent. 2 cases are on record of a death or injury by dog bite in which Procyon and Sirius were involved. Procyon is the nature of Mercury and Mars, so exaggerative, argumentative, unreliable, unscrupulous, given to invective, mechanical ability, very quick mind, and a great talker. It is again one of the 15 Bohemian fixed stars, and its image is a cockerel, or 3 little maids It gives the favor of the gods, spirits, and men, power against witchcraft, preserves the health, rules the stones of Achates, flowers of marigold and pennyroyal. In astrology, like its constellation, it is portended with wealth, fame, and good fortune. But Ptolemy gave Procyon the nature of Mercury and to a lesser degree Mars. Spectrally, the star is mercurial, like its greater neighbor Sirius, a Sirius dog star. It foretells wealth and renown, and in all classical astrology has been much regarded. Procyon in the neck of the small dog, so Canis Minor, the dog in the front and the preceding dog has a Mars-Mercury nature and therefore makes people hasty, jealous, pig-headed, but it also confers willpower and ability to put thoughts and plans into action. According to tradition, there is also a tendency to a hot temper and impudence. Rise and success are found with it, but later fall from high position in indicated. Enterprises created in haste therefore do not last. People who want to go through the wall with their head only cause injury to themselves. And Procyon gives drive to a good sharp mind. So linked with stellar bodies, success is made greater. But the native, in order to avoid a fiasco, has to always take care not to be imprudent. Especially dangerous is Procyon configured with Mars and Pluto, with the Sun, and a valiant demeanor is indicated. So considering that it is on Black Moon Lilith, as you can see here in the 9th house of Jupiter and that of expansion, obviously, just to be very, very basic with an explanation there. It really gives me the vibe of being quite volatile, especially considering it's got that the Procyon and both Black Moon Lilith already have Plutonian aspects and energies. In my personal opinion, Black Moon Lilith is it's sort of Saturnian and Plutonian to me, because it is our darker selves, and also where we have been constricted or where we are being constricted currently, you know. So Black Moon Lilith being in Cancer gives me this raging mama bear vibe of wanting to protect self, wanting to protect the family and the home, and considering that it is transiting Procyon right now, it would be very quite like male and females, masculine, feminine, will energies would be very much I want to say, can you give me that phrase back, please? They just gave, my guides just came through with a message. Oh, like bulleted gate, but also like not to be trifled with, not to be messed with whatsoever. Considering this, it's kind of like a very, to try and harmonize this opposition would be quite volatile energy to try and deal with. Yeah. So moving on now, we'll go to Algol. Algol is that of addictions. It's related to alcohol, things like this. It is at 26 degrees and 10 minutes of Taurus and has an orb of conjunction of 2 degrees. Now, this being on Mars straight away, like I'm actually getting a lot of pressure in the left-hand side of my head right now. Yeah, a lot of past, I want to say, injustices. It's giving me the vibe of like, where were you abused in a past life is what's coming through right now as I'm making this video for you all. So the fixed star Algol in astrology, again, astrologyking.com. If you go to my blog, you'll find the pictograph of what you're looking at right now down below the article, and you'll be able to click on and come and visit this website and have a read through all the other information about it. So Algol is one of the most unfortunate stars. Ptolemy referred to it as the Gorgon of Perseus and associated it with death by decapitation. mirroring the myth of the hero Perseus' victory over the snake-headed Gorgon Medusa. Historically, it has received a strong association with violence across a wide variety of cultures. Medieval Arabic commanders tried to ensure that no important battle began whilst the light of Algol was weak. It may be connected to the periodic lucky prognosis in an ancient Egyptian calendar for lucky and unlucky days, composed about 3,200 years ago. The 17th century English astrologer William Lilly regarded any planet to be afflicted when within 5 degrees of conjunction. I like to use 6 degrees as a maximum orb of all my conjunctions, but 1 degree to 3 degrees for calculated points. And I like to follow the fixed stars as well for their own personal ones. Astrologers, of course, said that it was the most unfortunate, violent, and dangerous star in the heavens, and it has certainly been one of the best observed as the most noteworthy variable in the northern sky. Algol represents the head of the Gorgon Medusa, who was slain by Perseus. Medusa, who was the only mortal one of the 3 Gorgon sisters, was originally a beautiful maiden, but her hair was changed into hissing serpents by Minerva, apologies, in consequence to her having become by Neptune the mother of the Chrysosaur and Pegasus in one of Minerva's temples. This gave her so fearful an appearance that everyone who looked at her was changed to stone. The fixed star Algol is the nature of Saturn and Jupiter. So again, not only did Deneb Algedi, apologies, have that Saturn and Jupiter energies. We have Mars on Algol, which is again that Saturn and Jupiter energy. So it's dignified, pious, conservative, acquisitive, retentive. It causes misfortune, violence, decapitation, hanging, electrocution, mob violence, and gives a dogged and violent nature that causes death to the native or others. It is the most evil star in the heavens. Algol, again, is one of the 15 Bohemian stars. Its image is a human head cut off at the neck. It gives success to petitions, makes the wearer bold and magnanimous, preserves the body, protects against witchcraft, and turns evil and spells back upon those who work them. It rules diamonds, black hellebore, and mugwort. Now, as we know, it's the head of the Gorgon Medusa. The name is derived from the Arabic Algol, meaning demon, or evil spirit or devil, derived from the same root as alcohol. The dark one has the property of pure Saturn character. The lighter one corresponds not only to Saturnian influence, but also to Mars, Uranus, Pluto nature. If the dark fellow is shot towards Earth's path, the destructive invisible action is exercised. These will be the hours in which Algol is least bright, and in olden times people were well aware of this. Dr. Lominer wrote in Biology in August of 1950, Arabic commanders-in-chief in times of conquest made it a point that no important battles were begun when the light of Algol was weak. And in spite of appreciable distance from the ecliptic, this double star influence is strongly felt, and in more cases it is a disastrous one. Primitive natives will be on the base mind with an inclination to brutality and violence, especially when Algol is found together with Mars or Saturn. It is very difficult to avoid accidents and severe injuries if Algol is conjunct the Sun, Moon, or the malefics. And everything has 2 sides. It has to be said that the high spiritual rays are emanating from Algol also, but only those human beings can receive them who have already reached high spiritual development. Even then, it has been noted that these particular persons will have difficulties and obstacles in their way, and they have to use much energy to overcome these handicaps if their endeavors fail. strong counter forces and enmities will present. So it has also the Jupiter energies, which is a long tradition as a troublemaker, and it is said to be one of the most unfortunate, violent, and dangerous stars. So its perverse meanings is too much heat, as it were, resulting in extremist actions that undo all beneficial qualities of this planet. So Algol, its alias Kaput Medusa, is the demon herself. Indeed, she is without a doubt counted the most malefic of all stars in astrology, even though Ptolemy gives her less obvious, ominous Saturn-Jupiter styling. Medusa's head, the meaning of the Latin title, is being held in Perseus's hand, which she is star in his constellation. So I feel to leave it there for the fixed stars, so you guys get the picture. Like, yes, it's a beautiful full Sturgeon supermoon. However, as you can see in just the few charts I've shown you, the 3 charts that I've shown you today, there's a lot more at play. And if we were to break it down again, which I have not, and I'm not going to prepare a chart, however, if you wanted to break it down further again, you could take it down into the decans and the munificers and decide on which of the which ruling planets were of each to which placements the sun, the moon, Lilith, Venus, Mars, Uranus, and Taurus are in right now, and you could break it down even further. So I want to go on to the Sturgeon now. The reason I'm being so in depth with this is because this is something I did when I very first started learning astrology and writing my blog in 2018, 2019. I want to be as comprehensive as possible, and bringing in the shamanic medicine of what a sturgeon represents. So not looking at it from the sturgeon moon, from a pagan outlook. I felt to look to sturgeon medicine. So again, there's a link for the little brief snippet I'm about to read for you, because there is a full page of all different types of interpretations here. However, the one I've chosen to read is on this spiritlodge.itgo.com website by Cinnamon Moon, and this lovely sister has compiled a whole bunch of quotes with regards to sturgeon medicine on this website. So thank you so much, Cinnamon Moon. I know you will never see this video, however, I just feel to acknowledge your hard work on this website. It's beautiful. So her first one, which I felt was very fitting considering the chart and the Pluto, Saturn, and Mars energies that we're looking at here. This is from Sun Bear's Medicine Wheel Notebook, and it says here that sturgeon is the animal totem associated with the ripe berries moon. So that's anywhere between July 23rd through to August 22nd. The sturgeon is known as the king of the fishes, a primitive fish that has probably existed on Earth since around the time of the dinosaurs' disappearance. The sturgeon comes in a variety of sizes, but can reach 12-foot lengths and at least 300-pound weights. Sturgeons are considered the royalty of fishes amongst the native people who lived in the Great Lakes area. Excuse me, I just had to have a sip of coffee. In the Ojibwa, I believe is the correct pronunciation, the Ojibwa Nation, there is a sturgeon clan that is one of the teaching clans to the Ojibwa people. The sturgeon represents depth and strength. The European people who came to North America did not have the same respect for this fish. At first, they considered it a nuisance when sturgeons got in their net. Later, they almost fished it to extinction when they discovered the value of its roe, which is better known as caviar. The sturgeon is rarely found now. And I believe it is in Africa, or South America, sorry, where the giant sturgeons are found. So working with sturgeon can teach you about your determination, your perseverance, your depth, your knowledge, your generosity, your strength, and your sexuality. Now, there's quite a number of other I guess meanings and interpretations that she's compiled on this website. So again, please visit the blog linked below, and you can get the link from the picture that you're looking at right now. I did put a picture up earlier of the fish itself. It's quite a prehistoric looking creature, and I found it quite interesting as I did grow up fishing with my father and family. Yeah, so I'm always interested when it comes to bumping into such synchronicities. So, however, let's get into the welcome back. I really hope that you enjoyed that, something different. Let's get into the tarot, and then after that I'll read Inside Degrees by Elias Lonsdale for 19 degrees of Aquarius. Okay, so I've already cleansed the cards. We know the question. I'm gonna have a little bit more coffee as well. Just bear with me, guys. I'm doing my best. It's 8:45 now. I really do hope that this is all served and being like useful information. I feel like, because not just myself, but many of my family, like my soul fam who I've connected with in the last 32 hours, have all been feeling the same energy that I was feeling. And even prior to me looking at the charts, I knew it wasn't going to be easy energy, just because of what the Five of Pentacles has been cut already. So I just heard as well, don't give up, in the sense of don't look down poorly on yourself, is what I want to say right now. Like, you're in hard astrology, very hard astrology, all right? And yes, we can look to the benefic aspects, the benefic aspects and what is available for us to work with. However, this energy of the past 6 weeks to 8 weeks now, it's been really demanding that we, again, similar to 2020 energies, when we first had Saturn move into Aquarius, really having us look at just exactly where we've been shutting out our truth. We've been 53 on the clock, as I said that as well. I've just got an itchy nose all of a sudden. And 8:44 a.m. 844 might be a number for somebody. The Two of Swords coming out. So yeah, where have you been attempting to disconnect? Yeah, disconnecting from your heart space is disconnecting you from Creator. It's disconnecting you from your truth. And yes, we don't want to look at it all the time. However, we can make space and make time in order to feel what we need to feel, and I totally get that, you're over it. Yeah. Six of Swords. I was saying to a brother just like not even 3 or 4 hours ago, maybe 7 hours ago, I was saying to him, I was telling him about this presentation that I put together and about the messages I've been receiving. And I was like, I feel like a pessimist. I feel like I'm bringing, you know, bad news and being a party pooper and all this sort of thing. And I wasn't trusting my intuition, you know, that the message needed to get out. And when I spoke with him, he was like the third or fourth person that had confirmed this energy to me. So this is why I like checked in, and Spirit's like, yep, the message has got to go out. So yeah, I do hope that you've enjoyed it. Ace of Wands, that's beautiful. So the question is, for the collective, what support are you needing at this time? Like, let's be real. What resistances are coming up, and where and why for you? And I'm just getting told right now, how can you tie them back? How can you trace them back energetically in the quantum? 2007 is arising right now. 2007. 2015 is coming up as well. And there's something about 2003 and 2004 for whomever is tuning into this. Or is it 2013, 2004? No, it's 2003, 2004. Yeah. So, what support are you needing at this time? For all of those who come across this video, thank you so much for being here and checking it out. Please do me a solid and like and subscribe. I hope you stick around. It'll be lovely to connect with you in the comments. So, what support are you needing at this time? What does the collective... Pablito is awake. He's up early. My puppy loves to sleep in normally. So, what support are you needing at this time? Let's pull some cards here. Support are you needing at this time? Ooh, beautiful. First card out, the Wheel of Fortune. And I just straight away heard the word patience. Yeah. Just bear with me. Patience, and also it's that adage of, you know, this too shall pass, which, to be honest with you, when I'm in a shadow, I really don't like hearing that. Just bear with me a moment. I'm gonna go and put Pablito inside so that yeah, you guys don't have to hear him barking at the neighbor's dogs. Okay, just bear with me one moment. Okay, apologies about that, guys. I had to take him in the house because he was started going a bit bonkers. 57 on the clock when I came back. So just excuse me. So we're talking about patience and that old adage that we don't like hearing, right? This is Anubis energy. This is the fixed energies, right? Fixed sign, Aquarius. One thing I didn't even touch on is that, yeah, you've got fixed earth and fixed air, and then cardinal water, and cardinal earth energies. But this is the card with all the fixed signs represented in the corners. So Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, and Leo. The Wheel of Fortune as well with the snake, and the Sphinx with the sword on the angle, and it is a 10, you know, so we are completing a cycle, because we do know that this is the last Saturn retrograde that we'll be experiencing as well for this transit of Saturn in Aquarius. The snake, of course, represents life, death, and rebirth, just as Anubis is the one who journeys with us and guides us to the afterlife, right? And the Sphinx is represented to me right now. It's giving me higher knowledge vibes with the black and white on the crown, but also because the sword is on an angle, there's no firm decision or clarity that has come through right now. And I feel that this is very much meaning that in order for this wheel to move forward, you have to embrace negative capability, which is to trust beyond knowing. It's similar to faith, having absolute faith. Excuse me, but my shawl is starting to choke me. And I am dressed a bit oddly, but it's cold today, so I've got a mishmash of things on to keep me warm. So underlying energies is the Three of Swords as well. So clearing past resentments, angers, grief, heartbreak, things like that that is coming up. That's what you need support with at this time, right? The Wheel of Fortune as well. Like perhaps you're needing financial support in this at this time as well to help you. They're just telling me as well that if you have a second house placement, Sun, Moon, Venus, or Mars, Sun, Moon, Venus especially, second house placements, don't let your bank account allow you to emotionally affect what you feel like you're worth, okay? Speaking from experience, I have all three in the second house. Yeah, Eight of Cups is what you need support in, as well as the next message here. So you need to know that it's okay for you to have alone time right now. Yeah? You need to know that it's okay that you want to withdraw so that you can go away and assess what's really bubbling up in you. I feel in society, in our culture these days, it's like show up, show up, show up, you know, especially if you're doing work similar to myself. And a lot of us who, you know, we push ourselves too far as it is. However, then we have this external pressure that we place either on ourselves or we've got it from the outside world, even especially if you're in a 9 to 5 and things like that. And it's like, not everybody understands the different levels. They're really highlighting to me as well, for those of you who are still doing a 9 to 5 style job, that those people aren't taking into account like mental health days or things of that nature. You know, there's not an understanding of spirituality or a spiritual journey. So if you're still working in I don't want to call it a matrix style job, because then that makes it sound less than, you know, and I'm a big believer of we're light workers wherever we go. However, this is giving me the vibe that the people that you're working with, and this is what this new moon is as well, is like, you know, cutting out the false personas. Well, it's not just your own false personas you have to walk away from. It's others as well, you know, being an Aquarius and the humanitarian. And it's like, what are the lost causes that you're holding on to and why? Yeah. I just got a bunch of pressure on the right hand side of my head right now as well. They're telling me that you're having to, some of you who are watching this, there's 3 people, 4 people, 5 people watching this, who have been receiving telepathic messages. They've been having telepathic conversations with a certain somebody. You'll know who it is. It could even be your boss. It doesn't have to be romantic, but you've been having telepathic conversations with one another, working, healing on the astral, discussing this connection on the astral, and you're both in the same place. And this is why you're not talking in the physical. So you don't need to anymore, or you don't need to as much anymore, is what's coming through, because you are so connected already. Yeah, so as what you feel, they feel, and vice versa. There's this, you know, perhaps some of you need to do a cord cutting or something like that, is what I'm feeling coming through. So if you do need that, go and see and consult with somebody who can advise you on that. You know, I can even assist you in doing that as well. However, I'm not here to promote my services. I'm here to do the astrology today, so for the moon. So what other services do we have, or what other support? What services do you need? The 9 of Cups. You need to remember how to be happy and gracious for everything that you do have. And it was 10444 on the clock when I said that. So practicing gratitude for the journey and how far you've come. Okay. practice. It doesn't matter what you have in the physical, whether you judge it to be from a lack and scarcity mindset or whether you have an abundance of things. You should be the same amount, you should be the same level of graciousness and gratitude and humility for all of it, you know. Feeling blessed for just having a bed to go and sleep in, feeling blessed to be able to, you know, filter your own water, feeling blessed to have, you know, for me, I feel blessed to have this studio, you know, like, granted, I'm not where I want to be in the world. However, I'm so taken care of and supported here, you know, and I'm like so honored that, you know, I'm here. I've got a bed, I've got a space where I can work, you know, it's all of the little things, yeah. So I feel this Nine of Cups is like, yeah, you need support in remembering how to look at the micro in your life, yeah, so you can experience the macro. And just FYI, I don't buy bottled water. I just bought this bottled water so that I could have the liter with me so I could make myself drink more water. But this is filtered tap water, yeah. I just felt to say that to somebody, like somebody's watching being like, she's using a plastic bottle. Anyways, the underlying energies of that Nine of Cups is the Lover's card as well. All right, that's really beautiful because the Lover's card pertains to decisions, okay, as a six, but it's also the Adam and Eve, the masculine and the feminine, blending the tree of knowledge with the tree of life. A Windows update, how rude. Okay, fantastic. Pardon me. Blending the tree of knowledge with the tree of life. Learning how to be, for the feminines here, okay, that are watching this, learning how to be receptive of the masculine energy without it coming from the father wound. And for the masculines watching, the same, but without expecting or wanting, on any level, subconscious or not, from expecting the feminine to replace the mother role in their life, you know, having grown from that maiden through to the mother and the crone energy. And it's sort of like, it's giving me vibes like that of, you know, helping or allowing spirit to assist you in that spiritual maturity is what I'm really feeling with this card. Is there anything else on that? And again, that's got the snake, of course, and the tree of life behind, or the tree of knowledge, pardon me, behind Eve. Is there anything else? That's interesting. Who is the, I can't recall his name. It's the Green Man. I think it's the Green Man. I was just looking at Spirit's crown here, and they flashed a picture of the Green Man. Isn't he Druid or paganism or Welsh? Pagan, Welsh, Druid, Celtic, Green Man. That's beautiful because that gives me vibes of like nurturing and planting seeds and growing and harvesting and things like this as well, yeah? So maybe you need to know that you do have everything available to you to start again, to plant a new garden. This is representing the Garden of Eden after all. So perhaps it's giving you that little extra nudge of motivation to let you know that, you know, the support that you're looking for at this time, a lot of it does come from within you. However, it also asks you to remember that it is never too late to start something new. You know, like I'll be 40 next month and I'm really quite comfortable with that. because I don't feel the vessel's age, and I feel even weird telling you guys that, because like I don't want to, we're all immortal, right? I don't want to be aging myself forward. However, the vessel's been earthside for 40 years next month, you know. I want you to know that it's never too late to start again in any capacity of your life, whether it be love, business, you know, taking off and starting anew in a new place of the world, you know, especially with starting a new business and career and following your passions. Like, it is never, ever, ever too late to do that. And the amount of healing that they're telling me that your heart will receive by doing that will add years to your life. So if you're a much older soul or a much older vessel watching this, thank you so much for being here. It's an honor. Our elders are so important. Please know that you are not, it's not too late to start anew. I think I'll pull one more just for an extra little bit of death card as the cut. Just for one final wrap up, and then I'll read 19 degrees of Aquarius, okay? So can we please put a bow on it for everyone? We just had the Strength card come out too for you guys as the next cut. So Scorpio and Leo energies. All right. So final guidance, please, for the support that the viewers of this video require right now, please. There it is. Yeah, the Seven of Cups. As I was saying, you have a lot of different options of ways in which you can go. 11155 on the clock when I said that. You know, however, the thing with this card is it's to not get trapped in the illusion. Yeah? Don't get trapped in the illusion of being stuck. Don't create limiting beliefs for yourself, but also with this card, for some of you, excuse me, I felt like an eyelash was about to drop. For some of you, I feel that this Seven of Cups, with what you need support in, yeah, is in creating these options for yourself. It could be related to passive income for some of you, or other streams of income. Like, what type of part-time work can you do? You know, something like that to bring in extra money. You know, I started doing part-time house cleaning, you know, because I was not pulling in the clients with where my energy was at earlier this year, you know. So I needed the money, you know. And so what type of work can you do that will allow you the energy to still follow your passion, okay, and your soul's mission, if that's what you're doing, right? But also this is very much relating to the personas as well, they just told me. Yeah, so it's identifying which of the roles you are playing in the Seven Cups there. See, so you got the snake at the top, the dragon underneath that, the laurel is what that is called. It looks like a wreath that's not closed. It's a laurel. So we don't rest on our laurels. We don't rest on the work we've already done or the accomplishments we've already made. We continue forging forward and we continue producing and creating. Yes, we don't rest on our laurels. And then you've got all the jewels and the crowns here, and the tiara, and the, yeah, so that's the finances. And then you've got the castle here as well. So what's your foundation like? And then the figurehead as well is directly linked to your identity. And then the cloaked being here is spirit in the Seventh Cup. So it's about really learning how to alchemize, but not just alchemize, okay? It's about integration of all of those aspects of self, because with shadow work, we are not trying to, when we say we want to release stuff in shadow work, it's not to discard it because it's a part of us. Shadow work is to help us accept and love every single facet of ourselves and bringing ourselves back to a feeling of wholeness. Even though we are already whole, it's bringing our soul back to a feeling of wholeness after fragmentation of wounding, right? And so that's what the snake and the dragon represent as well, is that rebirth energy and looking at your darker nature. And the darker nature, this, you know, that's not negative. That is part of who you are, the yin and the yang, you know, and really integrating that. They're telling me, thank you so much. That's such a beautiful message. Yeah, thank you so much. This is actually something that came through in the writings that I did for myself personally. I feel like I'm good with being vulnerable with people when in person, but when I'm putting this out to the world, like on a YouTube video, it feels very, very vulnerable. So I'm leaning the fuck in right now. The message my guides just gave me is that you need to see yourself the way the world sees you. See how he is looking, like he's got his back to us and he is looking at all of these beautiful virtues. Yeah, you need to see yourself through the eyes of people external to you without the veil of your wounding. You need to look at yourself objectively at everything you've done. Give yourself where credit is due. You know, I bet you if you have a look over the last year or two's worth of work or life, how much have you grown? How much have you changed and evolved? Go back through your phone and find a photograph of yourself. This is an exercise for you guys. I want you to go back through your phone and find a selfie. I'm sure there's enough to choose from. Of yourself from a year ago. And I want you to tap into that version of yourself and really sit with where you are now and just look at the difference energetically. Yeah. And view yourself objectively as well. Like, nobody knows everything about you, only you do. Yeah. So if you were to meet yourself for the first time, or come across your business profiles or your personal social profiles for the first time, what would you think or feel about that person, you know? And then love on yourself. Okay, this is the next part of the process. I want you to love on yourself and be proud of yourself the same, and admire yourself and your work and the way in which you've evolved and changed and grown over the course of a year, the way that you admire other people's profiles and the way that you dish out all the love and the hearts and the comments and, you know, support to everyone else around you. I want you to go and sit on one of your socials profiles and just like scan through it, and especially going back and looking through for a selfie from a year ago and having a look at how much you've changed, just to give yourself some perspective, yeah, on what all the things that you have to be gracious for. Your strength of character, your motivation to always come back to love, yeah, no matter how hard things get. You know, one of my favorite things is to love Only love lives here. You know, I welcome all into the kingdom of heaven. Only love lives here. Yeah? And so that's what I wish for you, and that's what I hope for you. Let's have a look at underlying energies. Yeah, Queen of Cups. You can't make this shit up, guys. All heart. What do you want to create? Whatever it is that you want to create, pour your entire heart into it. Yeah? What you give and emit out of you is always returned. And I'm not going to say threefold or tenfold or anything like this. What you give out is returned. Okay? And for those of you who are new to the tarot or still learning the tarot, this queen has the almost ornate cup in the deck because she has done exactly that. It's a very old card, so you might not be able to see very well, but that is because she is like the biggest mama bear energy. She pours all of her love into that. But you have to understand, you are the queen, but you are also the cup. Yeah? You can't pour from an empty one. So make sure that you return the love to yourself just as graciously as you hand it out. All right, so I feel to leave it there, and then underneath that is the star. So for Aquarius making an appearance. Yeah, beautiful reading. You know you've got this, guys. Like, I just feel to let you know that, like, yeah, you're a limitless infinite soul with the same amount of potential. You're in a human body here on earth, in the school of earth, okay, so that you can have the human experience, and that is the full gamut of all the emotions, arguments and all. Some of you are having arguments in this energy. It's not surprising though. I'm just going to itchy. Someone's about to head into an argument. If you know that you energies are tense between you and another party right now, just stay clear for a few days. Yeah, let this energy settle and then go and readdress it, because people are on edge right now. Okay, and yeah, so next up, 19 Degrees of Aquarius by Elias Lonsdale. And as per usual, I haven't read the excerpt because I like to read that along with you guys for the first time. It's a nice surprise to see how it encapsulates and puts a bow on the channeling that I've done. So yeah, it's called A Loud Crushing Loud Crushing Noises as a Glacier Moves. Okay, the indomitable spirit is one who has been at this forever and will still be on collective karmic alert to the very end. Already relevant. Purpose hugely takes precedence. Purpose hugely takes precedence. And what were we saying about learning to step back and, you know, put yourself first? Whatever is changing and whatever is staying the same are the two forces you track with and report back to cosmic center upon. You are being driven to the utmost to observe and witness objectively and dispassionately all the decisive and epochal shifts and pressures in the collective mix. Eyes wide open in the dark. Attention riveted to trends and turning points, and yielding up to a long ago agreed to code of recording and evaluating all the relevant data so that the cosmic forces can determine what is happening way down here and can fine-tune their ways to evolve the situation optimally, so that all concerned can synchronize with the greater ways and be released from anything and everything that runs counter to the bright promise of Earth evolution. That's it. I think that's really beautiful. I always do though. There's nothing from this book that I've ever gone, oh, that's not very cool. Maybe one or two things, maybe in the 4 years I've had the book. But yeah, that really kind of summarized it, like the journey that we've been going on and how it is that interplay. They're telling me the interplays of the energies and the wrapping up of the karmic cycles, and the layers of the karmic cycles that we've been revisiting, you know, especially since Aries season. I'm just hearing since Aries season. So I really hope that you enjoyed. Did I forget anything else, guys? Was I meant to do something else? No? Okay. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up there. I really hope that you enjoyed this as something different. It is a little old school for me. However, I just felt really called to do it for such a powerful energy and powerful message. So yeah, please drop in the comments if you liked the presentation and if you would like to see more of this style of presentation. And yes, I shall catch you on my next video. Thank you so much again for being here, and I'm sending you all the love and blessings. Be well, family. Bye.